Welcome, everybody, to Cinema Royale. I am Travis Hobson of PunchdrunkCritics.com, and joining me this week is my homie Wilson Morales from BlackFilmAndTV.com. What's up, Wilson?
Hey, it's going on. It's
Yeah,
good to be here.
yeah, long time no have you on the show, man. It's been ages. Good to talk to you. We're one night removed from the Golden Globes, one of the major awards of the season, of course, along with our Critics' Choice Awards and the Oscars as well. Give me your overall thoughts on the Golden Globes.
I thought it was very predictable for the most part, with the exception of maybe one or two categories.
I kind of feel the same
Uh,
way.
for those who cover Oscars and look to see whether or not the Globes are going to have any impact, if you were a betting man, you did okay. If you went by reading the web and seeing what everybody else's choices were, you did okay.
Yeah.
With the exception of maybe like Tiana Taylor upsetting Amy Madigan. Um, Everything else kind of fell into line. Even Hamnet, beating out
But
Sinners.
see, I kind of had that one as my surprise. I agree with you. I think this was a pretty by the numbers show in terms of like who won and who didn't. But my surprise, and we'll just get started on going through some of these, was for best picture drama, where Hamnet did get the win over Sinners and some of the other choices that were in there, like Sentimental Value. It was just an accident, and Frankenstein. It was just an accident. I don't think I had anything. Frankenstein and so forth. So yeah, why do you think Hamnet was such a big surprise, and do you think that bodes well for it coming up in the Oscars?
I don't want to say it was a surprise. One, they won the audience award at Toronto. And generally, in the last 8 to 9 years, the film that comes out with the audience award is an Oscar favorite.
Hmm.
You come out of there, you're top five. If not, you're going to be the best picture. And so, also, people forget the Globes are comprised by international journalists, and Hamnet is comprised by international artisans. As Jessie Buckley pointed out when she was during her speech, she had the cast as well as the crew were comprised by people from different countries.
Right.
You know, and let's not forget, although Sinners was good, it is primarily a black film, and you'd have to run the table in order to win. But knowing what I said earlier in regards to the Globes and who comprised the members, Hamnet was the favorite amongst those films.
Was that your
Then
pick? Was
Sinners.
that your pick? 'Cause I know you do, predictions for these things. Was Hamnet your pick?
I actually picked Sinners, and
Then what?
and
Then
that
shut the hell up,
I
then,
picked
man.
I
Shut
picked
the hell up, then. Talking about this.
I picked Sinners, thinking, here's the thing. Listen, there are times when like there's what you like and there's what the money's on. The money was on Hamnet. The money was on Hamnet, and I said, you know what? Let me just vote for Sinners. And I think I was out of my
So
colleagues,
you
I was
voted.
one
You
of the
voted with
few.
you voted with your heart and not with your head, because you're sitting
Yes,
here telling us.
that's not good. That is
Right,
not
you're
good.
sitting there telling us that Hamnet you look like the sure pick based on all this other stuff, all this information that you gave us that most people don't know. But then you're like, yeah, but I picked Sinners. So
Yeah, it's almost like fantasy. Like anytime you play fantasy baseball, football, they're like you're playing the numbers. You're not playing with your heart.
right. I got you. I got you. Winning for Best Picture in Musical Comedy was one battle after another. This one was, I think the obvious choice. Although there's a part of me that was like, Marty Supreme might have an outside shot. But it was one battle after another. My number one movie of the year, and I still think it's going to be the movie that wins Best Picture overall at the Oscars pretty soon. Although when I was asked for a prediction for 2026, I did tell Channel 7 that Sinners was going to surprise everybody and win Best Picture. So who knows? Who knows? I mean, look. I mean,
It's one. This
Honora didn't win anything at the Golden Globes last year. Am I right?
No, I don't think so.
Honora got shut out. I think it had like 5 or 6 nominations, and it came out to win Best Picture.
Yeah, last year was
So,
Emilia Perez.
right. So, I mean, there's precedent for stuff
But
like this.
but the difference is this, that Sinners has won the first four legs of the race, meaning that they've won the New York Film Critics Circle, LA Film Critics Circle, National Board, and the Society of National Film Critics. Only four films, including One Battle, have had that distinction. Of
Right.
those four films, Schindler's List is the only one that's gone all the way to win the Oscar. The other two, LA Confidential lost to Titanic, and Social Network lost to The King's Speech. So for One Battle to lose,
Those
it
are
will
two. Those
take.
are two. Those are two movies that I don't think hold up very well. The Social Network and the King's Speech. I don't like
You
either.
know, well, no, I think Social Network can hold up that, in time. King's Speech, yeah, I don't think it holds up.
Yeah.
Uh, um, but I think with One Battle, because of the fact that it's PTA and he's this year's Scorsese, when you look at the films he's done, and he's never won an Oscar after 11 nominations. See,
Yeah.
sometimes it's the narrative. And the narrative is anybody else directing that movie doesn't get this far. It's PTA, uh, 11-time nominee, more so than Christopher Nolan, who finally won his with Oppenheimer. And so, like, when you've got Leo, and I think this is his most commercial film ever with One Battle, because you can't say a lot of people saw Phantom Thread or There Will Be Blood, so like not,
Oh,
or
it's
even
one thousand
Licorice
percent.
Pizza.
It's 1,000% PTA's most mainstream movie. Like
Yeah, or even Licorice
1 million
Pizza.
percent.
It's like you
Absolutely.
can't say a lot, but when you have Tiana, Regina, and Chase,
And it's culturally relevant. It's timely, which I think is really important as things get increasingly political. I think it's very important that people, because when I listen to political talk all day, and I'm hearing a lot of people calling in talking about one battle after another who aren't movie people. They're talking about this movie and like aspects of it that are reflections of today. I think all of that matters, and like I said, I think it's going to be the movie that wins the Oscar, but it did win the Golden Globe
and
last
it's
night.
entertaining, from
It's
start to
super
finish. You're
entertaining.
watching it. You get a laugh when you hear Leonardo DiCaprio say, "I don't know the password. I've been stoned for 17 years."
Yeah.
Paraphrasing some of the
Yep.
things he said.
Yep. No shock that K-pop Demon Hunters won a couple awards there. It was a
Yeah, if there was any
no
animated
shock.
film that was, I think the year Spider-Man came out, we all wanted it to win. But when you were selling Mizrahi, his last film, that had a bigger narrative than Spider-Man, and it's rare for a film sequel, with the exception of Toy Story, to win
Yeah.
in
Yep.
the animated world.
Yep. All right, so let's look at some of these other performances that won last night. We talked about it already. Jessie Buckley winning Best Female Actor for a Motion Picture Drama. Um, she's been my pick pretty much all year. Ever since that movie came out, she's been my pick. Even though I do not personally like Hamnet that much, I think it's vastly overrated. Her performance was not. So I was
Yeah,
not
Jesse
surprised
Buckley,
by
you walked out of there as like game over. It's Jesse's
that.
to lose.
Yeah,
She's been previously nominated for the Lost for Maggie Gyllenhaal's movie.
yeah,
She's been that up
yeah.
and coming actress that you wanted to see break out, and she has, and this movie cements it.
Has anybody come on quite as fast as she has? Because it's like she hasn't been around that long in terms of being an actress, and she is just like every single role she takes, she's up there in the conversation, even if she doesn't get nominated or doesn't win.
There have been people, I think I remember Jessica Chastain came out of nowhere
True.
and got nominated not that long afterwards. Margot Robbie. So like there's so many actresses that received nominations under the age of 30,
Well,
you know,
Margot Robbie was doing like The Legend of Tarzan for a while.
but if Chase Infinity gets a nomination, I don't think anybody will beat that, considering this is her first movie.
Right, right.
So that's something that I don't know if it's historic. I haven't looked at the records yet, but Chase getting it will be historic for a black actor. Well, actually, I wouldn't say black actors, because you had Kavanjane get nominated on her first movie,
Yeah,
but really hasn't materialized into anything to the same status that will bring her back to the stage.
yeah.
You had Gabourey Sidibe, and I'm just talking about black actresses,
Yep.
who got nominated for Precious, and we haven't seen her on the big screen on that level again.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens far too often. What was it? Uh who was the one who won for Precious? What was her name? I don't even remember her name.
Monique, yes.
Monique. I was like, yeah, I was like, never see her again in anything. I always talk about the guy from God, what was the Tom Hanks boat movie? Captain Phillips.
Yeah,
Mark.
Abdi. Abdi, it's like, yeah, it's like he got nominated, and yet we have never seen him ever again.
I remember him being at I remember talking to him at the Critics' Choice that year. I was like, I hope he's eating all this up because I don't think he'll be back.
Never can take for granted. Listen, as the saying goes, you're only good as your last project. Can't take for granted you're going to
It
come
is
back again.
sadly true. It is sadly true. There's a lot of one hit wonders out there. Like there is with music, there's one hit wonders when it comes to acting too. We mentioned Chase Infinity. She lost in the best performance by a female actress in a musical comedy to Rose Byrne. I think there's a lot of people that are surprised by this. For If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. But she's had buzz for this performance since January when you and I and everybody saw this at Sundance. What do you think about that category? Because she beat some impressive people. Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue. I love her in that. Chase Infinity for One Battle After Another. Amanda Seyfried, who was actually would be my pick for The Testament of Anne Lee, and Emma Stone for Begonia. What do you think about this category?
Rose has been on such a fire for such a long time that it was close. I would have thought that maybe Kate Hudson, if the movie did very, very well, it's doing modestly well, but not very, very well.
It's already
I,
coming out on digital, so I
you
mean,
know, I thought that Kate Hudson may have had a shot, but Rose is now is giving Jesse Buckley a run. Rose won New York. She won L.A. She's right up there. She's that character actor who they loved for a long time. Has had a couple of lead roles. This one, obviously, and the nomination, the win for her is a win for the independent films. Because when you look at the other categories, they're all in studio films. Cynthia Erivo, Chase Infinity. Um, Rose, her film is A24, but when you look at it, it's a fairly small film. You
right.
know, very small film, and it just tells you with the right push, because you can have a small film, but you need the right marketing to tell people how good you are.
I
So
think
it's not just about the performance.
the right marketing, and the right narrative around the performer, because Rose Byrne is somebody that I think we've all admired for a long time, mainly for her comedy stuff. So to see her in a chance to like take the spotlight on her own and do something a little bit broader than that, we all love that. I think we in all of Hollywood and all of us love that narrative, right? We love to see somebody kind of break out and do something a little bit different, and she does it, and she won. So I'm happy. I'm very, very curious to see what happens in the Oscars with that, with best actress category. Let's talk about males. Let's talk about dudes. Best performance by a male actor in a motion picture drama went to. I consider this a surprise. Although I love The Secret Agent. Wagner Mora winning that one. The Secret Agent also won for best foreign language film. He beat
Everybody and their mama knew he was going to win.
Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. Dwayne. They don't want to give it to Dwayne Johnson for The Smashing
Every
Machine. Crazy.
A majority of the members that vote for the Golden Globes are from Brazil.
Yeah, that is
You knew
true.
that. If you knew that going in, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
it's Wagner. If
And
he didn't,
Wagner Moore is legitimately fantastic in that movie.
he's good, but it's sort of like if you can't win this award when you've got a majority, it's like sports. It's like you got the number one draft pick. It's like, come on, you got enough balls in there to win, and you needed to win in order to get in the race. Because if you can't get a Golden Globes, knowing that these members are your countrymen, you ain't got no shot.
Right, right. He also beat Joel Edgerton for Train Dreams, who probably would have been my pick. I thought he was amazing in Train Dreams. I wish that movie had done a little bit better.
He still has a shot. There's still it's kind of funny. Like there's really like when you think of it, six guys in the running for best actor. Although you can only get five,
you know,
and you're gonna get Timothy, Leo, Michael. Now you can say Wagner, and that fifth slot could either go, at least in my opinion, to Ethan Hawke or Joe Egerton.
yeah. I hope it's not Ethan Hawke. I don't like Blue Moon. I don't like that movie. Best performance by a male actor in a motion picture musical or comedy. Went to Timothy Chalamet for Marty Supreme. He beat George Clooney for Jay Kelly, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, Lee Byung-hun for No Other Choice, and Jesse Plemons for Begonia, who I don't think should have been in the male category for anyway. Probably should have been supporting. Should have been supporting, in my opinion. But Marty Supreme, Timothy Chalamet. What do you think that movie's prospects are going forward?
Marty is the third or fourth best film. I think your top four films throughout the year is One Battle, Sinners. Those two are going to eat up a lot, at least technical slots. Then you've got Hamnet and Marty. Those are the top four. Anything else is like okay. One of those fours are winning Best Picture.
Right.
And with the campaign that Marty's been doing with Timothy and
So not
everywhere
so not
else,
Avatar. So not Avatar, Fire and Ash.
yeah, the Avatar is not happening. Not happening. If somehow there's enough love in there to get it as the 10th picture, maybe, but it's not happening.
Okay, it's not F1. It's not gonna be F1.
Although F1 got a PGA nomination as well as weapons.
It would be in mine if this was the Travis Hobson Awards. It would be in there. So
I liked F1. To be honest with you, I liked F1 a lot. I don't think they've done enough of a campaign, and
they've
because
not.
you don't have Brad Pitt. I think Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. I'd say that if Tom Cruise campaigned for Top Gun, he could have gotten the Best Actor nomination.
Right.
If he campaigned, that movie was so loved, $1 billion. You know, Tom
There's
Cruise is such a magnet that had
yeah.
he shown up to any FYCs and receptions, he's in, he wins. Same thing like Brad Pitt. If Brad Pitt, these we still have. They are the last of the A-list stars.
To me, it feels really bad that Brad Pitt isn't getting more love for Best Actor. He's just not getting the attention for it. Like you said, that movie, it's not really getting much of a push. They're just not really putting a lot of muscle behind it, which I think is a shame. Because I don't know anybody who watched it and didn't like it and didn't like Brad Pitt's performance, but it seems like it's just been forgotten. I kind of wish it had
Yeah.
come out in
Well,
November.
there's a thing. They can say anything about the script. It's
If it had come out
it's
in November, it'd be a different story.
it's everything old is new again, and so you can look at shades of other films that are in F1, but the performance is there. At the end of the day, if you're going to sell a used car, who's better to sell it than Brad Pitt? You're saying,
Right.
at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, he's going to be the magnet that's going to draw you in. For the
Yeah.
same reason, Leah was the magnet that drew people in to go see One Battle.
Yeah.
Tiana and Regina are good, but they won't sell to a mainstream audience the way Leo does.
All right, so moving on to let's just wrap up the major categories. Best performance by female actress in a supporting role went to Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another. She beat Amy Madigan, who I think a lot of people saw as the front runner. Inga Iswater Lilius for Sentimental Value, Ariana Grande for Wicked for Good, Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value, and Emily Blunt for The Smashing Machine. Tiana Taylor, she doesn't have a lot of screen time in the movie, but I mean, is there anybody who didn't think her performance was like one of the most impactful of the year?
Definitely impactful. She's been on the campaign trail.
Really
Um,
nice.
Amy Madigan is the vet vote, meaning that like anybody else playing that role doesn't get that much attention. But because it's Amy Madigan and she's had her years of service, I can't say of a film that has stood out in her career. Although you know who she is and the solid work that she's given throughout her years, and so she's the vet vote. you know,
Does this
um,
push Tayana Taylor into front runner for the
Yes.
Oscars?
Yes. I would definitely push Tiana Taylor as front runner. Interesting enough, the other ones that got nominated, Emily Blunt, Inga, and Elle, weren't even nominated for an actor award, which was previously known as the SAG Award.
Yeah.
So like that's interesting because but then again, I remember I think Regina King didn't get nominated for an actor award and yet won the Oscar. But they're gonna need a lot of help. So right now I would say it's Tiana Taylor and Amy Madigan, both from the same studio, Warner Brothers. They are the front runners.
Well, I hope this gets people to go and check out Tayana Taylor's breakthrough in 1001, which is freaking amazing. I saw that movie from a few years ago. Um, all right. Best performance by male actor in supporting role went to Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. I was a little surprised, just a tiny bit.
He was a
Adam,
favorite.
Adam Sandler, Jay Kelly, Sean Penn, One Battle After Another. I kind of thought he would take it. Paul Mescal for Hamnet, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, or him, because I think people just like that movie inexplicably. I don't know how they stayed awake through it. And Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another. Talk to me about Stellan Skarsgård finally getting the win here.
Well, you can make the argument that Benicio and Sean canceled each other out,
Yep,
and Paul Mescal is good, but not as good as Jesse. If you watch Sentimental
it's
Value,
Herbert.
Stellan is. I would have thought he's the lead in a way because he's so commanding in his performance.
Right.
And he's been around for a long time. 1996, Breaking the Waves, Goodwill Hunting. He's got two or three kids. He's got three kids in the business.
Got a
You
bunch of
know,
Marvel movies as well.
well, I don't think the Marvel movies really stand out, but he's had a stellar
Well, I
career.
mean,
Like,
in terms of increasing his profile, no other movies did it more than the Marvel movies
yeah,
did.
but when they look at those Marvel movies, I think not with the voters though. The voters don't pay attention to like the mainstream
Okay.
commercial films. They're paying attention to the quality of work that you've done. Not to say that Marvel movies aren't bad. I mean, are bad, but they're not on that level.
Let's be honest. They like Stellan Skarsgård because he birthed a bunch of other Skarsgårds who are well known actors too. So there's a bunch of Skarsgårds floating around out there, and it's all because of him.
But he
Uh,
was the favorite going in.
all right, so we got that. And let's talk about the best director category as well. We'll wrap up with that one. Best director went to Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. He beat Ryan Coogler for Sinners, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident, Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value, and Chloe Zhao for Hamnet. What do you think this does for Paul Thomas Anderson? Do you think he's going to win at the Oscars, springboarding
He
off
he's
this?
he's gonna walk to the Oscars.
Yeah.
The way they gave Scorsese the Oscar, and it was the three amigos between Spielberg and George Lucas, and I forgot who the third one was, Francis Ford Coppola. That's how they're going to do it, Paul Thomas Anderson.
So they're not
Like,
going to give it to Francis Ford Coppola for Megalopolis then.
nah,
How was he?
Ryan
How was he?
Ryan
Was
Ryan had a
he?
good film, but unfortunately, his film came out the year of Paul PTA.
No,
It's
this
like
is this is what I've heard from the inside. I've heard that Francis Ford Coppola was actually number seven. Like he just missed out
what?
for Megalopolis. He just missed out. Like he was just on the edge. Like he almost got in there. It's almost got
No,
in there, but one of the voters didn't mail in their voting time. It got in too late,
I think
and
that would have been a
and
crying
Coppola
joke.
and Coppola missed out because of that one guy who didn't turn in his voting time.
That would have been a crying joke. I think with PTA, listen, people always say how many great players the NBA had during the time of Jordan.
Yeah.
And this is it. Like Ryan had a good film. Unfortunately, it's during the time of PTA when he's so deserving of it now.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson is my favorite filmmaker. I've liked just about everything he's done. The only thing I don't really like is Inherent Vice. I think it's pretty awful. But
Yeah, that was
but everything
unforgettable.
else he's done has been pretty damn good. And One Battle After Another, I mean, I'm loath to put anything over Boogie Nights, which is my all time favorite.
Boogie
But
Nights is like yes, and that
but
was and he's definitely shifted obviously in his directing career when you think about Boogie Nights to now.
oh, for sure, it's definitely expanded. I mean, from you think about Hard Eight and movies like that,
And when
and
you think about the people he's worked with from Boogie Nights to now, in between that, you're gonna have so many people just say it's time for Daniel Day. You got Daniel Day Lewis's vote. You got Mark Wahlberg's vote. You
yeah,
know, so
yeah.
it's like at the end of the day, it's like
Speaking of
okay,
Daniel Day Lewis, where's his movie at? Where's his movie? Wasn't mentioned in here at all.
it
Did
came
anybody
and
go
went.
see
Listen, it came
it?
and went. He gave his son a shot to get into business. And now
you know,
he's
it
going back to
came
retirement.
it came and went. It put me to bed. And that was and I was like, I'll never watch this movie again, and I don't even remember the name of it anymore. So there you go. But it is what it is. All right, Wilson, your final thoughts on the Golden Globes, man, and what they could mean for the Oscars overall before we get out of here.
Overall, listen, everybody gets a bump. A week ago we were talking about the Critics' Choice Awards and what they mean, and it's the first leg. I think, and the same thing for the Golden Globes. The gold thing about both shows is that whoever wins, the speech is everything. Whoever wins gets a bump, and you get a further bump if you're able to say something that is meaningful. I think of all the speeches that stood out, Tiana Taylor stood out. Just like the way last year when Demi Moore won and she said, no, they didn't think she was going to, or producer didn't think she was going to get far, and she did. And that propelled her to almost beating Mikey Madison,
Right.
you know? And so now you have the SAG Awards. SAG Awards are like California votes. And today's the start of the Oscar race. With the nominations, I think they have a week to vote. And so, it's 1 week of, okay, let's try to get somebody over the top. Let's get them in there. And once you're in there, now the question is, how can you beat Jesse? How can you beat Paul?
Yep.
It's like, because some of these people are coming in there with overwhelming favorite odds.
Yep. Yep.
I think the only ones I think could be supporting is interesting on both fronts. There's no locks there. There's no lock on supporting. Tiana is a favorite, but there's no lock. If Odessa gets in for Marty Supreme, just like she did for the Actors Award, got a nomination, you don't know. They
Yeah.
like ingenue actresses, when they
Yep.
when they come in there.
A
Just like
lot of bright
Monica
stars. A lot of
Monica
bright stars.
Barberi got nominated last year for A Complete Unknown at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you have with the male, there's Benicio, there's Sean, and but then you just don't know. Remember the year when like Keith Stanfield got in and nobody saw that coming.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
so you don't know. Uh, Listen, in our perfect world, Damson Idris will get a nomination for F1, and I would not complain. You know what I'm saying. And then listen, Miles
Absolutely.
Caton got an actor award nomination over Delroy Lindo. He's
Yep.
still in play. Those are
We
points.
we honored him here in DC for
Yeah.
Sam as well. So, okay, man. Well, this is Wilson Morales, Oscars prognosticator, and my homie from many years back. Wilson, you got anything going on at Black Film and TV that we need to know about coming up?
Just we've got Sundance coming up pretty soon. It
Yep.
starts the same day as the Oscar nominations, so the 22nd will be a big day. You know, um, and then then you start looking into what comes up down the road, and then obviously you and I will talk later on because this is going to be a great Comic Con year.
It
You
should
know,
be.
it should
Should
be.
be.
It's like everybody's going to come out there. It should once Marvel says they'll be there, everybody's coming.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know, but we got a lot of time before then. Right now, we'll see who benefits from these Golden Globe wins.
Yeah. All right, Wilson, this has been fantastic. Thanks to everybody for tuning in to Cinema Royale. I'm Travis Hobson at punchdrunkcritics.com. You can find me there and loads of other places, especially if you're in DC. All right. See you guys next time. Thank you and goodbye. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.